Alright, welcome to our little house on the road. This is our 1970 Starcraft pop-up camper, and we've put quite a bit of work into it already. It was in fairly good condition. We just had to kind of modernize it a little bit, clean it up. As you can tell, it still needs a paint job, which we'll get. We took the canvas off, put it in the wash machine, put it back up and waterproofed it, and there's no leaks. I'll take you inside, show you around a little bit, show you some of the stuff we've done. We have a 750 watt Walmart inverter hooked up to a 12 volt battery. I also put a little meter here, and that tells us how many volts that the battery has on it. Right now it's 12 volts. That's handy when the inverter is not on. The inverter, granted it's upside down, tells us it's 12.3, but when it's not on, that LED screen, or I guess it's LCD screen, is not lit up, so we don't know. And this does a very good job of running our little refrigerator. Three burner stove, and it works. I don't have propane on right now. Our little sink. Now this sink had a hand pump. 1970 it was a hand pump. I've installed an RV pump, which I'll show you in a bit, and I thought it'd be real handy just to put a little hose valve on it, just for cold water. And that way we can put a hose on it and we can move the hose around, maybe wash our hair. This is the tank, and I actually got this got this idea from a YouTube video. This way that I can just swap out water, get 5 or 6 different buckets of water when I'm in town, fill up the buckets, and just swap them out when the bucket is empty. And you just heard the pump kick on. I've installed a switch that powers LCD fog lights, and I got some pictures I'll show of this. Show you the water pump and what I did there. I had to install all this hose. Previous owner of this camper installed an air conditioner. About 45 degrees out today, and it's actually hot in here with my Mr. Buddy heater. Mr. Heater Buddy. is all wet sand, and to get to the beach, it's miserable. At times these ditches come up onto the road, so you're driving through water. Jacksonville Beach. This time we're on the west side. We're on the Gulf Coast on a little beach called Wakulla Beach. And I am going to show you the extent of this beach. I've never been so worried and nervous to get to a location and happier to have gotten there. This is amazing. But we had to drive in 3 miles on a sand road. It was wet sand, and there was points where I didn't think the truck would fit between the water. So I am so happy to be here. There's one other vehicle. Hot water heater for a shower. I guess you could call it a water heater shower combo, because that's all it does. We heat our water over the fire in a pan. Mare, M-A-R-E-Y, propane water heater. Propane connection, hooked it right to your 20-pound propane tank. I got the propane tank right in front of me, but and then you hook your water to a hose. All right, so I've hung it up on our shower tent. There's your lines. This is the propane line. That is the shower head. And this is the water inlet. This is your water hose. Right there. So now it's heating up. Green, lush forest. Look at that. It's beautiful. And then I'm going to swing around to black and brown forest. This is a result of a controlled burn that we witnessed the other day. The other day we were walking this trail and we stumbled right into the controlled burn. Walked right into it, and it was just a line of fire. And I was really surprised. Like I said, I didn't know at the time, I later learned. I was surprised there was nobody watching the burn. It was late in the evening. I turned around, got my camera, and came back and took pictures of it. So on this trail is this bridge, this foot bridge. Very solid bridge. Very old, I think. I couldn't tell you how old. Made out of poles, planks. This is an incredible bridge. Huge poles. You see the cable? Holds it in place. Really neat bridge. And it was built by the labor donated by the Chickasaw group And the materials were donated in part by Northern Florida Lumber / Appalachia Pole Company. So, I mean, there was a lot of care that went into this bridge, and it's volunteers. I found out from the ranger that these trails are maintained by volunteers, and they built this. Okay, well, so the day after the controlled burn that I was telling you, we saw the fire, the bridge was on fire. And there is probably a 10-foot section that burned right here. So I ran back to the campsite, got some buckets, and put the fire. We got water from the creek over there, and I dumped water on this bridge until I got the fire out. Well, I promised you yesterday that I would, on the little live feed I did, that I would give you an update on what's going on. So yesterday we decided to go to the ranger's office. We wanted to investigate campsite hosting. Well, so we went to town for about 3 hours. And when we came back, our camper no longer existed. The only thing that was left was the frame, the metal frame. It had caught on fire. There was still some flames that we had to put out, so we got some water out of the river with the only bucket that was left. Spent about an hour putting out the flames, getting the hot spots down. And there was nobody around, so I mean, it just went up. The campground was fine. The only thing that burned was the camper. It was incredible. That fire must have been the hottest fire on the planet. It must have been hot as the sun. It was incredible. Everything melted. The roof melted. The siding, the panel, you know, on the side melted. That's metal. It melted. Just incredible. The intensity of that fire. Well, we didn't get as much done as what we had hoped to get done on our camper. This is our camper. It's still on the ground. This is what we built since, what is today, Monday? Since Tuesday. We started working on this Tuesday. Sorry for the wind. I'll do the best I can to talk over it. I don't know how far my Wi-Fi will extend out, but there's the back door. I don't want to get too far away from the truck. So, there's our truck with our new camper. And of course the wind picks up as soon as I start this. So, here's our hookup to our shore power. Right there. I put it next to the driver door, so anytime I want to drive away, I don't forget to unplug it. And that'll plug right into the generator, which will charge our batteries. And all right, so I'm coming on around to the back. All right, open the door. Okay, so we haven't done a lot of painting in here. We're not sure we're going to. We kind of like this rustic look. So there's our refrigerator. I'm trying to get it in the picture here. And what we'll do, so it has a freezer and a fridge. So what we'll do is when we leave, we'll use bungee. I got a longer bungee here. And so there's a hook. There's a hook right there. I got to get some more extension cords. Okay. There's the bed with the storage underneath. And here is well, you guys didn't get to see the windows. There's the window. And we have another window over here. There's our cab over. If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. So in yesterday's video, I told you that we had to leave Mississippi 2 weeks early. And I'll put a link to that video right here. So what happened was the National Forest came out and said, okay guys, we're going to close it down because we got bad weather coming. So he said at 9 o'clock that we had to be out by 11 o'clock. So I quickly tried to start Googling different campgrounds the best I could. I found a campground that had water, and freecampsites.net said it had internet. So we drove 2 hours to get out there. and it didn't have internet. But the nightmare that incurred, it was probably the worst day I can remember. When we left that campground that didn't have internet, we got to the internet spot, we said Vicksburg, and it said, okay, make left here. And so we made a left. I bet we didn't get 2 miles, and the weather app immediately said, okay, a tornado warning in your area, take shelter. What had happened was we didn't have internet, and then once we reestablished the internet connection, the weather app sent out the warning. We're on this little 2-lane county road, and it's raining just as hard as it can. I've never seen it rain that hard. I have traveled most of my life for my business through the Midwest. I'm accustomed to tornadoes, I'm accustomed to storms. I've just never been stuck on an old county road where I couldn't pull off somewhere or get underneath a overpass or something. There was just nothing. We couldn't even pull off to get into a ditch, which was, I was always told, if you can't do anything, just get out and get in a ditch. Because on both sides of us was flooded fields. It was just floods, that's all it was. When I saw the rain going up is when I got the most frightened. I thought, well, either we're gonna make it or we're not. There was no options for me. We passed this farm building. It was like a carport. And for a moment, I thought, I'm just gonna pull into this carport and hope I don't get arrested. Maybe I can explain myself. I'm just hanging out here until the storm's over. It was going too fast before I could get stopped, and there was no way I was gonna turn around. Well, we ended up going maybe another 2 miles, and there's this guy flashing his lights at us. And it's obvious he's got his hand out the window, he's waving us down, so we stop, and he says, you can't go that way. The road's blocked by a tree and a down power line. And then he stops another truck. As we're turning around, I guess tell him the same thing. Well, that other truck turns around, and I let him go ahead of us. I'm so thankful that I did. The second truck. So we had a Jeep that stopped us, and then we had a white pickup truck that I let go ahead of us. So he's in front of us, the Jeep's in front of him. Well, we lose sight of the Jeep. I don't know where it went. And there's limbs in the road, so we're dodging limbs, we're driving on the left. And I'm really glad he's in front, because for some reason he's got really good vision, because he's seen these limbs way before I am. So if he was in the left lane, I knew I needed to be in the left lane. Well, all of a sudden he just slams on his brake lights. And immediately I thought, uh-oh, there's a tree down. And sure enough, there was a tree down. So now we are blocked. We got power lines behind us and a tree in front of us. So I get my rain poncho on, and I go get out to see if there's any way of getting around this thing. Well, this tree, remember I told you I was going to stay? I had thought about pulling into this farmhouse. Well, the tree was maybe 10 feet away. The tree that's down on the road was 10 feet away from that driveway. So I looked down the driveway, and there's a tree on top of that carport. So if we'd have been underneath there, that tree would have came down on us. Well, the guy in the white pickup truck, he gets out of the truck and he pulls out this huge rope. He says, you want to help? And I said, yes, sir. Let's get this thing out of the way. And he says, if you'll tie the rope up over that limb up there. And he started backing up. Of course, the rope broke several times. I bet it broke 4 or 5 times, but he just stayed with it. And I offered him some money for his help. He said, no, I had to go through here anyways. And we worked that tree until we finally got it out of the way enough that we could get around it. If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. So today I thought I'd tell you about some of the surprises that Carolyn and I have discovered being out here in the upper elevations of Arizona, New Mexico. The lowest elevation that we've been at has been, I think 7,500 feet, 7,000 feet, something like that. And then, of course, we're here at the North Rim, just north of the North Rim, actually. And I think we're at 8,800 feet. That takes us to about 1.5 miles above sea level. So one of the biggest surprises that I have discovered being here at the Grand Canyon. Now we're out here, we're not in the national park, we're at the national forest. The Grand Canyon National Park is inside the national forest. And so we're in the national forest. So we're parked right next to the Grand Canyon. The edge of the cliff is about 20 feet away from our camper. Well, every morning I get up and I look out across this amazing view, and every morning it looks different to me. Every time I step out of the camper, it looks different. That is a huge surprise to me. I didn't expect that. I thought I'd get bored with it pretty quick. But the shadowing and the cloudiness and the smoke, there's a lot of smoke apparently. There's a fire down south of us. Every time I walk out, every minute of every day looks different than what I've seen before. There's peaks and valleys out there that I've never seen before, even though I've been here for almost a week now. I think this is one of the most obvious reasons that staying in a location for as long as you can, as long as the regulations allow you to stay, is amazing. You know, I always talk about staying, discovering new trails, discovering new plant life, discovering new smells. But here I'm actually discovering new sights every time I walk out my camper. If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. We are right there, I think. And it's my understanding that we are camped at the highest spot at the Grand Canyon. And so I'm out here on this little island that you have to walk down to. Perhaps you can see there is a trail roughly there. It comes up to this little island. And so I get to stand kind of in the middle of what they are calling the two highest peaks of the Grand Canyon. That one and of course that one. To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the off-grid lifestyle, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Well, as I said in yesterday's video, Carolyn and I finally made it down to our property, and we are now off-gridding, if you want to call it that. It's been a long day. We traveled quite a long distance, and we had to stop at Home Depot and ended up spending, I don't know, a couple hours there. This is the entrance to the road here. So this is going to need a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of work involved, but the property is $4,200, so well worth the work. As you can see, it's all weeded over. Gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do to clean all this up. I would say a brush hog, but there's so many rocks and a fence line that has fallen down. There's fence everywhere. I ran over some just a little bit ago. Had to be real careful getting down here. It is kind of a soft soil right now, so spun the tires quite a bit, but I did not sink. Was able to keep moving. The momentum was good. So my hope is I can get out of here. Because we're going to take the camper off the truck in 2 days. Internet's really bad with Verizon, but there is a Facebook page of this particular town, and it says AT&T is real good. So we'll go to the AT&T store and get AT&T. Oh, that being said, we also had AT&T a few weeks ago. When we came down here, it was good. I canceled the AT&T because that was on the truck. We weren't going to be able to use it. So we'll just cancel the Verizon and get AT&T. This is the trailer, the infamous trailer. It's a mobile home that has been demolished. As a matter of fact, when Google Earth drove by a couple years ago, there was more here than what there is now. We're going to clean all this up. Take our time and clean it up the best we can. And that's where we're going to build our tiny house, right? Probably right here, back here in the shade. So tomorrow I'll spend my day in this spot. This is the well. I've showed you the well in previous videos before. There's the well hole right there and covered up. Now right over here, I showed you where the well was. So what we did was we parked down here, and that's where we're going to put the camper for now, out of the way. So the well, I can put an IBC tank around here somewhere, with a hose, a garden hose, pump water into the camper, and then we'll have, you know, running water all the time. We'll hook up the water heater permanently. Again, I have to apologize for the sun. Okay, so there must have been a shed or something here, and it has fallen down. Now, I was telling you about barbed wire. It's just everywhere. So you couldn't really bring a brush hog in here because the barbed wire will get wrapped up in the brush hog. To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so I'm back at the tiny house build again today, and today I'm focused on water. So as you know, I got the shower finally installed. I got the drain put in. So now I just got to get the plumbing to bring the water into the house. I got my battery there that's going to run the RV pump. I got a new RV pump. I'm not going to use the old one because it was starting to wear out. I think we've used it for 3 years now. And then I'm going to try to find my fan. I got a little computer fan somewhere in the back of the truck that I'm going to put in. And I should have running water. All right, so I got the shower in. I got running water. Watch. Oh, I forgot the air. There's air in the line. Can you see it? Probably not. Haha! Hot water. That's great. We're going to take off the overhead valve cover first. It doesn't really matter where you start first, I guess. I could start anywhere. Okay, and then we're going to remove the exhaust pipe. I've sprayed some penetrating oil on it a few hours ago, so we'll hopefully be easy to get off. Oh yeah, no problem. And the intake for the carburetor, we'll take that off. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on something. So hope I can inspire you to keep at it so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.